If you want to understand your flood risk in more detail, you would be advised to obtain a site-specific flood risk assessment for your property, produced in consultation with a professional. The flood risk specialist can utilize detailed data sets and maps to assess risk from different sources and determine expected flood depths at a given location, across a range of return periods or different level of events. They can also physically survey the site to assess property-specific flood risk attributes, such as elevation. In some cases, residents have successfully disputed their property's level of flood risk by having a flood risk assessment carried out for their property and demonstrated to insurers that their risk is actually lower than stated. The 4 risk bands give you a broad picture, but they are not designed to present you with detail. There is another thing to consider: the annual exceedance probability. Each year is effectively a new roll of the dice. For the 1 in 100 year event, a 100-sided die, known as a polyhedral die, would be used and a flood would be indicated by, say, rolling a number 5. With each roll, the chance of rolling a number 5 a flood remains the same, a 1 in 100 chance, or 1%. The probability of a flood remains the same for each consecutive year the die is rolled. However, the more times you roll the die, the chances of hitting the number 5 are inevitably increased. Time and the cumulative factor. In reality, the vast majority of people do not live at a property for just 1 year, especially if they are buying it as opposed to renting. In determining whether a property's level of flood risk is acceptable or not, it is useful to consider the duration of time that you expect to live there. While annual exceedance probability looks at the risk of flooding annually, it may also be worth knowing the chances of experiencing a flood across a longer time frame, such as the 10, 20, even 30-year period of time that you may reside in the property. The results are surprising. As can be seen from the table below, if you're buying a property with a 0.1% AEP, the bottom end of the low risk band, and expect to live there for only 1 year, the chance of a flood is 0.1%. If you expect to live there for 20 years, the probability of you experiencing a flood within that time period increases to just short of 2%. Still relatively low indeed. In contrast, however, if your property falls at the top end of the low-risk band at 0.99% AEP, your chances of experiencing a flood over the same 20-year period would be 18.04%. While the 0.99% chance of a flood occurring each year sounds low, if you knew that there was nearly a 1 in 5 chance you'd experience a flood at some point within the next 20 years, would you still buy that property?
دا سیلاب ښه سیوا شو دا ګل وختي دغه وشو له پاسه مکمل اوبه پرې راواغوښتې او دلته هم بس بسان بس قسمت یې ښه و که مخه کړي وو خو بچ شو قسمت یې ښه و بچ شو که مخه کړي وو دا اوس ګوره دا دغلته دا کسان ولاړ دي او اریان دي که یې وجې ورته مخ وکړو نو بیا دلته